In the vast expanse of the galaxy, where civilizations have long followed predictable patterns of growth and interaction, a new force emerges: humanity. Unexpected, unpredictable, and unyielding, humans challenge the very foundations of interstellar diplomacy. What was supposed to be a routine first contact encounter becomes a defining moment for the universe. As alien powers watch in awe and confusion, humanity's rapid technological leaps and unmatched adaptability force them to rethink what progress truly means. Earth's chaotic brilliance becomes a beacon of possibility, and the rules of galactic engagement are rewritten. What happens when a species refuses to be categorized, when its diversity becomes its strength? The universe is about to discover that humanity is not just a player in the cosmic game. It is here to redefine it. The question now is, can the galaxy keep up? The quantum resonance scanner aboard the Zishian diplomatic vessel hummed with an unusual frequency as it detected strange readings coming from Earth. Ambassador KRX, a towering crystalline being with prismatic skin that shifted in color based on emotional states, leaned forward, intrigued by the results. The planet they were approaching, Earth, appeared to be an ordinary blue and green sphere in an unremarkable solar system. It seemed to meet all the typical characteristics of a pre-faster-than-light civilization. However, the readings indicated something was fundamentally different. The quantum signatures they were picking up were chaotic, erratic, and defied any conventional understanding. KRX instructed his junior science officer, RTO, to scan again, directing the Yum Election's tentacle-like appendages to recalibrate the sensors. Despite Earth's outwardly mundane appearance, the information from the scans was perplexing. The planet's quantum signatures behaved unpredictably, far beyond what should have been possible for a civilization at this stage of development. The Zexians had encountered hundreds of emerging civilizations, but nothing like this. Something was out of place, and KRX could feel his growing curiosity turn into unease. Reno, the officer in charge of analyzing the scans, spoke with a note of uncertainty in his voice. Their preliminary readings suggested that Earth's technological capabilities far exceeded what their apparent development should allow. The communication networks they had detected implied an infrastructure that seemed far more advanced than anything expected for such a seemingly primitive world. This gap between Earth's perceived technological level and the reality of what they were encountering was baffling. Ambassador KRX's crystalline body flickered in color, shifting from a calm azure to a mix of amber and deep purple, signs of profound confusion and concern. The Zexians, with their advanced knowledge and experience, had never faced a situation quite like this. Despite their centuries-old diplomatic protocols and technologies, Earth was posing a challenge to everything they had learned about first contact scenarios. The Zexians, usually able to handle emerging civilizations with a delicate approach, had no idea how to proceed with one that seemed so fundamentally different from all others. KRX and his team decided to take a cautious approach. Their usual first contact protocol called for minimal energy emissions and a passive approach to observation, especially when dealing with a pre-faster-than-light civilization. Yet, something about Earth felt different, almost like the planet was aware of their presence, as if it had anticipated this encounter. With growing apprehension, KRX issued a command to open a standard communication channel, following the usual procedure of sending a first contact message encoded in multiple universal linguistic algorithms. To their surprise, the response they received was not at all what they had expected. Instead of confusion or excitement, the transmission was crisp, professional, and loaded with an undercurrent of something the Zexians could not immediately comprehend: controlled aggression. The message from Earth was direct and forceful. Unknown vessel, this is the Earth Global Defense Network. You have entered a restricted zone. State your intentions immediately and prepare for comprehensive scanning. Reno was stunned, his appendages freezing mid-motion. The Earthlings had detected them. This should have been impossible. Their technology was not supposed to be advanced enough to detect the Zishian vessel's stealth systems. Yet, their scans were precise, methodical, probing the Star Weaver's quantum shielding with an uncanny level of precision. The Zishian vessel's shielding, which had been designed to remain undetectable to any primitive civilization, was now being analyzed as if Earth had the capability to see right through it. Ambassador KRX's emotions shifted again, his colors flickering rapidly. Humans, who were supposed to be a simple, primitive species, had just demonstrated an unexpected level of awareness and capability. The Zushian delegation was used to encountering territorial species, easily intimidated and subdued by their superior technology. But these humans were not responding according to the protocols. They were rewriting the first contact playbook in real time. The Zexians, once confident in their diplomatic tactics, now found themselves confronting a species that was unlike anything they had encountered before. Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her team of scientists at the United Global Defense Research Complex were already hard at work, analyzing the alien quantum signatures with intense focus. Located deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, the research complex housed some of humanity's brightest minds, all dedicated to understanding the mystery of the alien vessel. Dr. Rodriguez, known for her expertise in quantum mechanics, was leading the charge. Her team's knowledge had been growing for years, and now, faced with the unexpected arrival of an extraterrestrial species, they were ready to put everything they had learned into action. As she studied the alien scans, Elena's mind raced through all the possibilities. The stealth technology the alien vessel seemed to employ was far beyond anything humanity had encountered. Yet, something about it seemed familiar. In fact, the principles behind the technology weren't entirely foreign. For nearly a decade, humanity had been theorizing similar concepts, exploring ways to manipulate quantum fields and achieve invisibility in space. The readings from the Star Weaver confirmed that humanity had been on the right track all along, though the aliens' technology appeared more advanced. Dr. Marcus Chun, a renowned quantum physicist, stood beside Elena, analyzing the data with equal intensity. His eyes widened as he pointed out a series of anomalies in the alien vessel's signature. The alien ship's quantum shielding was impressive, but the underlying principles were based on theories humanity had been developing for years. "They don't realize how close we are," he muttered, a sense of excitement creeping into his voice. His team had been on the verge of breakthroughs, and now, those very breakthroughs might allow them to understand and counter alien technology more quickly than expected. The room hummed with a mix of excitement and strategic calculation. While many would have felt fear or panic in the face of such an unprecedented encounter, the human team saw only opportunity. They had been preparing for this moment, not out of fear of extraterrestrial threats, but because they had always known that humanity's place in the universe was uncertain. The vastness of space carried both peril and promise, and now humanity had the chance to make its mark on the galaxy in a way no one had anticipated. General Sarah Armstrong, head of the Global Defense Initiative, was also present, using her unique position to bridge the gap between military readiness and scientific progress. While the scientists worked on understanding the alien technology, General Armstrong focused on the broader picture. "We're not going to react with panic," she said firmly, addressing her colleagues. "We're going to respond with precision." Her calm demeanor and strategic mind provided a sense of direction to the rapidly unfolding situation. She knew the first few hours of any crisis were the most critical, and she intended to ensure humanity's response was measured, not impulsive. Within hours, a multi-layered response plan began to take shape. The Global Defense Network, which had long been prepared for such an event, shifted into action. Satellite systems were reconfigured, quantum communication arrays were optimized, and defensive platforms were readied. Unlike many species that would be caught off guard or slow to react, humanity's strength lay in its adaptability. The coordinated efforts of defense experts, scientists, and engineers across the globe meant that Earth was already preparing a formidable response. Every continent, every research institution, every government agency was working in unison. Dr. Rodriguez's team quickly moved from theoretical to practical. They began developing countermeasures for the alien vessel's quantum shielding. Their goal was clear: to neutralize the advanced technology they were up against. "They think their technology is advanced," Elena muttered as her fingers flew over the holographic interfaces. "But they haven't seen what human ingenuity can do when challenged." This wasn't just about protecting Earth. It was about showing the aliens that humanity was capable of rising to meet any challenge, no matter how advanced or unexpected. Humanity's response was not limited to military defense. The research teams, led by some of the most brilliant minds in the world, were already working on experimental communication protocols that could bypass traditional communication barriers. The goal was to understand the aliens and engage with them on a level that transcended simple defense. Humanity wasn't just preparing to protect itself. It was preparing to engage in a meaningful way, to communicate, learn, and, if necessary, defend its position. The entire planet seemed to shift into a unified mode of strategic preparation, and the message to the alien visitors was clear. Humanity was not just a passive species waiting to be discovered. It was a force to be reckoned with. The first diplomatic encounter between humanity and the Zetian delegation took place in the United Nations Special Extraterrestrial Engagement Chamber, a facility specifically designed for such a momentous event. Situated in a neutral zone beneath Geneva, it had been prepared for decades, with the understanding that humanity's first contact with an alien species might one day occur. Ambassador David Chun stood in the center of the room, his calm demeanor masking the complex array of thoughts running through his mind. Across from him, the Zetian delegation was led by Ambassador KRX, a being of crystalline structure whose color patterns flickered in response to emotional stimuli. The initial tension in the room was palpable, as the humans and aliens prepared to navigate the delicate nuances of interstellar diplomacy. Ambassador KRX began speaking, his voice carrying a resonance that conveyed both authority and a certain level of anticipation. "We come with peaceful intentions," KRX declared. "The Galactic Consortium seeks to understand and potentially integrate your civilization into our broader galactic community." His words were measured, indicating a formal approach to first contact that assumed a passive and subordinate position for humanity in this potential alliance. Ambassador David Chun, known for his diplomatic acumen, responded swiftly but with equal respect. "Integration implies a hierarchy," he stated. "We are here to discuss potential collaboration, not subordination." The exchange of words, though seemingly polite, carried a heavy undertone. The humans were not interested in joining an established galactic order. Instead, they sought to explore a new model of cooperation that would emphasize mutual respect and equality. The Zetian delegation's initial surprise was evident, as their crystalline forms flickered in shades of confusion and curiosity. This subtle clash of philosophies highlighted a fundamental difference in worldview between the two species. The Zexians, with their thousands of years of history and interstellar experience, had encountered countless species, but none had ever responded with such firm independence. Humans, who had only just begun their journey into the cosmos, were not approaching this encounter from a place of fragility or fear. Instead, they demonstrated a confidence born from their ability to adapt and think strategically, challenging the Zexians' assumptions about human nature and potential. As the conversation progressed, Dr. Elena Rodriguez, serving as a scientific advisor to the human delegation, saw an opening to press further. She raised several technical questions about the Zetian communication systems, probing not just their technological capabilities, but also their societal and ethical foundations. "Your communication suggests a network of cooperative governance," she said, her tone calm but probing. "Yet your technological approach implies a hierarchical decision-making process. We are interested in understanding the nuances of your societal structure." This intervention left the Zetian delegation momentarily stunned. The questions were not the typical inquiries one might expect from a species still in the early stages of first contact. Instead, Dr. Rodriguez was directly challenging their understanding of governance and cooperation on a level that was both intellectual and philosophical. Her questions weren't aimed at finding technological solutions, but at questioning the very foundations of Zetian interstellar interaction, which in turn placed humanity in a position of intellectual strength. General Sarah Armstrong, observing from behind the diplomatic team, remained silent but focused. She understood the importance of this moment. The human delegation wasn't just defending their position. They were strategically positioning themselves as equals in this conversation. Every word, every gesture, was calculated to ensure that humanity would not be seen as a mere subject of galactic diplomacy, but as a force to be reckoned with. The humans weren't here to be dictated to or managed. They were here to collaborate on their own terms. The Zexians, once confident in their role as intergalactic leaders, were now facing a species that refused to fit into their well-established models. Ambassador KRX's crystalline form flickered rapidly, a visual indication of cognitive dissonance. He was accustomed to dealing with primitive species that could be easily manipulated or controlled. Instead, humanity was presenting itself as a complex, independent entity, unafraid to challenge traditional galactic norms. This shift in the Zishians' understanding was subtle, but profound, as they realized that they were encountering a species that was not only capable of defending itself, but was actively shaping the course of the conversation. The humans, led by David Chen and supported by Dr. Rodriguez's technical expertise, were not merely responding to the Zeshian offer of integration. They were defining what this moment meant. The human delegation made it clear that their intent was not to follow a galactic script set by other civilizations, but to create something new. As the exchange unfolded, the humans were rewriting the rules of engagement in interstellar diplomacy, showing that humanity could engage with extraterrestrial species in a way that was both innovative and assertive. The universe was witnessing the dawn of a new era in galactic relations, one in which humanity would not just be a participant, but an active creator of the future. The diplomatic standoff reached an unexpected turning point when Dr. Aisha Kapoor, a cultural anthropologist and linguist, stepped forward. Her sudden presence took both the human delegation and the Zishian representatives by surprise. She had not been part of the initial discussions, and her approach to the meeting was even more unconventional. She stood before the assembly, her calm demeanor belying the intensity of her thoughts. Before we continue our formal discussions, Dr. Kapoor began, addressing both parties. I propose we explore something fundamental: the nature of communication itself. The room fell silent as the gravity of her words sank in. General Sarah Armstrong raised an eyebrow, her military background making her more inclined toward strategic discussions than philosophical debates. Ambassador David Chun, however, regarded Dr. Kapoor's proposal with curiosity, recognizing the potential for a breakthrough in the ongoing negotiations. The Zeshian delegation, led by Ambassador KRX, shifted in visible confusion, their crystalline bodies reflecting a spectrum of emotions ranging from uncertainty to curiosity. They had not anticipated this kind of approach, where the very basis of communication was questioned in the midst of a high-stakes diplomatic encounter. Dr. Kapoor activated a holographic display, and the room was immediately filled with intricate visuals. The display wasn't just a technological presentation. It was a living, breathing visualization of human complexity. It showed how humanity's strength lay not in uniform thinking, but in the diversity of perspectives that coexisted within their civilization. Our civilization is not a singular entity, she explained, her voice steady yet filled with the weight of the message. It is a dynamic ecosystem of ideas, cultures, and approaches. What you may perceive as chaos is actually our greatest strength. As the Zexians watched, Dr. Kapoor initiated a real-time, collaborative problem-solving simulation. The holographic display shifted to show a team of individuals from vastly different backgrounds working together. A Brazilian engineer, a Kenyan economist, a Japanese linguist, and an Australian climate scientist began interacting, exchanging ideas rapidly to solve a hypothetical interstellar resource management challenge. The Zexians observed in amazement as these individuals, despite their cultural differences, were able to synthesize a complex solution with remarkable speed and efficiency. Ambassador KRX's crystalline form flickered rapidly, signaling the internal recalibration taking place within the Zishian mind. The humans were not just responding to the challenge. They were transforming it. The Zexians had expected a linear, structured approach to problem-solving, one that followed a clear and predictable path. Instead, they were witnessing something profoundly different. The human approach to solving complex issues was not bound by rigid structures, but instead embraced a fluid, collaborative, and adaptive mindset. Dr. Elena Rodriguez seized the moment to present a series of technological innovations that further bewildered the Zexians. She showcased quantum computing breakthroughs, adaptive AI systems, and communication protocols that had emerged from seemingly random human collaborative processes. "We don't follow linear progression," Dr. Rodriguez explained with a sense of quiet pride. "We leap, we imagine, we transform." The Zexians, who had prided themselves on their own technological advancements, now found themselves struggling to comprehend the depth and breadth of humanity's ingenuity. The Zexians, once certain of their superiority, were now beginning to question their own understanding of progress. The humans were showing them that intelligence did not necessarily follow a singular, predictable path. The unpredictability of human creativity and adaptability was proving to be a powerful force, one that the Zexians had never encountered before. In this moment, the humans were not merely defending their place in the galaxy. They were challenging the very notion of how intelligence and advancement were defined across the cosmos. General Armstrong, ever the strategist, recognized the significance of Dr. Kapoor's intervention. This was not just a diplomatic maneuver. It was a demonstration of human potential on a grand scale. The humans were reshaping the parameters of interstellar engagement, positioning themselves as equals in this new galactic order. The Zexians, once poised to offer humanity a place within their established system, now had to reckon with the reality that humanity was not interested in simply fitting into existing structures. Instead, they were offering something entirely new, a dynamic and adaptable approach to problem-solving and collaboration. As the simulation concluded and the display faded, Dr. Kapoor's words continued to resonate in the chamber. The Zexians, still processing the complexity of what they had just witnessed, began to shift their perspectives. The humans had not only proven their intellectual and technological capabilities, but had also demonstrated a new way of existing in the universe. Humanity was showing the galaxy that true potential did not lie in conformity or predictability, but in the ability to embrace diversity, complexity, and creativity. This was a moment that would change the course of interstellar diplomacy forever, as humanity's role in the galactic community would no longer be defined by submission, but by active participation and transformation. As the diplomatic tensions unfolded, it became clear that humanity's response to the Zexian delegation was not one of mere defense, but rather a proactive and strategic assertion of independence. The human representatives, led by Ambassador David Chun, did not simply comply with the expectations of the Zexian delegation. They were offering a radically different perspective on what first contact could mean. The humans were not asking for permission or guidance, but were asserting their right to shape the nature of any potential collaboration on their own terms. David Chun, with his calm but unwavering demeanor, made this clear during his discussions with Ambassador KRX. He emphasized that humanity was not looking to be integrated into the Zexian system, which assumed a certain hierarchy. Instead, humanity was interested in exploring mutually beneficial possibilities without compromising its autonomy. The very concept of integration, as defined by the Zexians, was something that humans rejected. This bold stance created an immediate shift in the atmosphere of the talks. The Zexian representatives, accustomed to managing civilizations by imposing certain standards and protocols, found themselves faced with an unexpected challenge: a species that did not view itself as subordinate. While the human delegation stood firm in their position, they also understood the importance of respect and diplomacy in these interactions. General Sarah Armstrong, a key figure in the human delegation, was fully aware of the delicate balance required to maintain both strength and diplomacy in such an unprecedented situation. The human representatives were not being aggressive. Rather, they were positioning themselves as equals. This careful balance of power and diplomacy became one of the defining features of humanity's approach to the first contact scenario. The Zexians, on their side, tried to understand the motivations of the humans, attempting to analyze the complexities of their behavior. For the Zexian delegation, this was more than a simple diplomatic engagement. It was an intellectual challenge. Their methods had been honed over centuries, and they were accustomed to encountering species that could be categorized, understood, and controlled within established frameworks. The humans, however, did not fit this model. Their actions, their decisions, and their very approach to diplomacy were both unpredictable and uniquely intelligent. The Zexians found themselves perplexed and intrigued. In this new dynamic, it was evident that humanity's position was not one of vulnerability, but one of strength. They had prepared for this moment for decades, not from a place of fear, but from a deep understanding of the universe's complexity and the potential dangers that might arise from an unknown contact. The Global Defense Initiative, which had quietly been working on advanced technology and strategies, was now playing a crucial role in ensuring that humanity could respond to the Zexians' challenge without hesitation. The humans were not simply reacting to the Zexians' advancements. They were prepared to introduce their own innovative solutions. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, one of the key figures in this response, exemplified humanity's readiness. Her expertise in quantum technology and advanced communication systems was pivotal in formulating a strategy that allowed humanity to keep pace with the Zexian technology. However, her actions were not merely about defense. They were about setting the stage for humanity to present its own capabilities and innovations to the galaxy. The idea that humanity could be both adaptable and advanced in ways that had been previously underestimated by other species began to take shape. The human response was about challenging the very understanding of what made a civilization truly advanced. The Zexians were now not only facing a challenge to their established diplomatic protocols, but also witnessing a civilization that could adapt, innovate, and overcome limitations with breathtaking speed. The humans were showing that their true strength lay not just in their technology, but in their ability to think, act, and evolve in ways that defied conventional wisdom. The initial surprise and wariness of the Zexians slowly shifted to respect. What was once seen as a potential threat was now being recognized as an opportunity to engage with a species capable of transforming the dynamics of galactic relations. Ambassador Chen's final statement: "We are not seeking your understanding. We are offering you a glimpse into a different way of existing in the universe," encapsulated the essence of humanity's position. It was not about acceptance or subordination. It was about mutual exploration, understanding, and collaboration. The human delegation had made it clear that they were not here to fit into an existing framework, but to help create a new one. This shift in perspective marked a profound moment in interstellar diplomacy, as humanity positioned itself as a transformative force within the galaxy, changing the way other civilizations would view their role in the universe moving forward. The diplomatic encounter between humanity and the Zexian delegation took an unexpected turn when Dr. Aisha Kapoor, a cultural anthropologist and linguist, stepped forward to propose a radical idea. Her presence was not anticipated, and neither was the direction she intended to take the conversation. Instead of continuing with the standard diplomatic exchanges that had been unfolding, Dr. Kapoor suggested they explore something much more fundamental: the nature of communication itself. This bold intervention immediately captured the attention of everyone in the room, creating a moment of profound silence. Dr. Kapoor's idea was not just to discuss the typical technological or military aspects of first contact. Instead, she wanted to delve into the way humanity and the Zexians could truly understand each other, beyond mere words and established frameworks. She activated a holographic display that revealed a complex network of human cultural interactions, showcasing the diverse and dynamic ways in which humans communicate. This display was not merely an abstract theoretical model. It was a living visualization of humanity's complexity, a demonstration of how diverse perspectives and forms of communication coexisted and thrived together. As the holographic display unfolded, it illustrated how humanity's greatest strength was not in uniform thinking, but in its ability to embrace diversity. What the Zexians might see as chaos or disorganization in human communication was, in fact, the driving force behind much of humanity's success. The display showed how people from different backgrounds, cultures, and disciplines could work together, pooling their unique perspectives to solve complex problems. This process of collaborative problem-solving, which was often chaotic but remarkably effective, was a hallmark of human ingenuity. To further emphasize her point, Dr. Kapoor initiated a real-time, collaborative simulation. She brought together individuals from vastly different backgrounds: a Brazilian engineer, a Kenyan economist, a Japanese linguist, and an Australian climate scientist, and tasked them with solving a hypothetical interstellar resource management problem. The Zexian delegation watched in amazement as these individuals, despite their differences, worked quickly and effectively to synthesize a solution. It was a demonstration not just of intelligence, but of the power of diverse perspectives coming together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. Ambassador KRX, the leader of the Zexian delegation, observed this display with a mix of confusion and curiosity. His crystalline form flickered rapidly, signaling his cognitive dissonance. The Zexians had long held the belief that civilizations progressed in linear, predictable paths, with clear hierarchies and organized systems of governance. What they were witnessing was an entirely different model, one that defied their understanding of how intelligent life should behave. The humans weren't just responding to challenges. They were reshaping the challenges themselves. The moment was significant not just diplomatically but also scientifically. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the quantum physicist, took the opportunity to present several breakthroughs in technology that had emerged from human collaborative processes. These technological innovations, quantum computing advances, adaptive AI systems, and new communication protocols, were not the result of linear scientific progression as the Zexians might have expected. Rather, they were the product of human creativity, the ability to leap forward by thinking outside the box and embracing unpredictable, non-linear paths of development. The Zexians, who had long prided themselves on their understanding of progress, now found themselves challenged by a civilization that approached both problems and solutions in a radically different way. Humanity's capacity for creativity, adaptability, and collaborative thinking was becoming increasingly apparent. What the Zexians had interpreted as a lack of order was, in fact, humanity's greatest strength. It was clear that humans had the ability to see beyond traditional limitations and transform the very nature of problems, finding innovative solutions where others saw only obstacles. The shift in the Zexians' understanding was profound. They had initially seen humanity as a fragmented and disorganized species, one that could be easily manipulated or controlled. However, through Dr. Kapoor's intervention and the demonstration of human creativity and adaptability, they began to see humanity as a powerful, dynamic force. This moment of realization was not just a diplomatic victory for the human delegation. It was a transformative event that redefined what it meant to be a civilization. Humanity had shown that its strength lay not in conforming to established norms, but in its ability to forge its own path, to think creatively, and to collaborate across boundaries in ways that other civilizations could only begin to comprehend. As the diplomatic exchange continued, the Zexian delegation, led by Ambassador KRX, began to realize that humanity was not just a new player on the galactic stage. They were reshaping the very concepts of cooperation and progress. While the Zexians had operated for millennia within a framework that valued order, hierarchy, and predictable advancement, the human approach was proving to be something altogether different. Humanity's adaptability, creativity, and ability to think outside the box were not simply traits of an emerging species. They were signs of a civilization capable of challenging and redefining existing norms. The Zexians had come to the diplomatic table with the assumption that they would be the leaders, guiding humanity into the fold of the galactic community. However, the way humanity had presented itself, with an emphasis on independence and mutual exploration rather than submission, had left the Zexians grappling with an entirely new perspective. The humans were not interested in being guided. They were interested in collaboration, in forging a path that was not dictated by others but shaped by their own vision. This shift in perspective began to unsettle the Zexians, who were accustomed to maintaining control in such encounters. Dr. Aisha Kapoor's earlier intervention had been a pivotal moment, as it revealed the depth of humanity's strategic thinking. By demonstrating the power of diverse perspectives, she illustrated that humanity's strength was not in uniformity, but in their ability to come together despite differences. The Zexians, who had long relied on structured approaches to problem-solving, were now confronted with a new understanding of intelligence. This concept of collective problem-solving, where seemingly unrelated fields of knowledge could combine to produce solutions, challenged everything the Zexians had believed about the evolution of intelligence and progress. In the months following the first contact, the Zexians found themselves studying humanity more intently, trying to understand the secret behind their rapid adaptability. What made humanity so uniquely capable of transforming challenges into opportunities? The Zexians, who had once seen the diversity of human cultures as a potential weakness, now recognized it as the driving force behind humanity's rapid technological advancements. The human ability to adapt and innovate, to take risks and leap forward in unexpected ways, had become a model that many other civilizations now sought to understand. The collaboration that followed was nothing like the typical exchanges the Zexians were accustomed to. Research stations across multiple star systems began studying humanity's methods of communication, technological innovations, and collaborative problem-solving processes. These were not mere scientific studies, they were radical experiments in cross-species collaboration. The Zexians were forced to confront the reality that their understanding of how civilization's progress was limited, and humanity was forcing them to rethink everything they had assumed about progress, cooperation, and success. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a key figure in the human delegation, spearheaded several initiatives that further showcased humanity's extraordinary capabilities. One of her most significant breakthroughs was in quantum communication, a technology that allowed information to be exchanged faster than light. This advancement opened new possibilities not just for interstellar communication, but for entirely new ways of sharing knowledge across vast distances. The Zexians were left stunned by the implications of such a technology, which transcended their own understanding of what was possible. Humanity, it seemed, was not just catching up to the rest of the galaxy. They were leapfrogging over established technologies and creating something entirely new. As the Zexians became more aware of humanity's potential, they began to question their previous assumptions. Where they had once seen humanity as a primitive species, they now saw a civilization brimming with possibilities. This transformation was not immediate. It took time for the Zexians to fully accept the magnitude of what they were witnessing. Yet, as they observed humanity's unique blend of scientific innovation, strategic thinking, and philosophical depth, they began to understand that humanity was not merely a species to be integrated into their galactic community. It was a force that could change the very nature of interstellar relations. In the final stages of the diplomatic summit, it became clear that humanity had fundamentally altered the direction of the conversation. They had not come to the table seeking acceptance or integration into an existing galactic structure. Instead, they had come to propose a new way of interacting, one that emphasized mutual exploration, shared innovation, and a rejection of rigid hierarchies. The message was clear. Humanity was not a follower in the galaxy. They were a transformative force, ready to reshape the future of interstellar collaboration. The Zexians had no choice but to acknowledge this, and in doing so, they found themselves confronting an entirely new paradigm for galactic diplomacy. As humanity's engagement with the galactic community progressed, the Zexians found themselves at a crossroads. The radical shift in their understanding of what a civilization could be was impossible to ignore. Where they had once assumed that interstellar relations followed a set pattern, one where advanced civilizations provided guidance and less developed species followed, they now saw that humanity was rewriting those rules. Humanity's unpredictable nature, its ability to leap forward technologically and socially, was not just a sign of advancement, but an invitation to rethink what progress itself meant. The Adaptive Civilization Protocol, championed by Dr. Aisha Kapoor, became the cornerstone of this new understanding. It was not merely a diplomatic strategy, it was a philosophical approach to interstellar collaboration. By emphasizing flexibility and diverse thinking, this protocol rejected the idea of a static, hierarchical galactic community. Instead, it embraced the notion that the most successful interactions were those where civilizations could adapt, learn from one another, and transform challenges into opportunities. The Zexians, once steadfast in their belief that civilizations must evolve according to a predictable pattern, now had to consider the possibility that humanity's dynamic, nonlinear approach could lead to new ways of thinking, being, and interacting. As the months passed, the Zexians began to look inward, evaluating their own system of progress. They had long held the belief that innovation occurred in a structured, step-by-step manner, but humanity had shown them that leaps of imagination, collaboration across diverse fields, and rapid adaptation were just as valid, if not more powerful. This realization didn't come easily, as the Zexians were entrenched in their ways. But the evidence was clear. Humanity's approach had already begun to yield results that far exceeded expectations. The development of quantum communication and the success of collaborative projects between humans and Zexians began to change the way both civilizations viewed one another and their shared future. The true shift, however, came when the concept of collaboration moved beyond scientific endeavors and into the cultural realm. General Sarah Armstrong's leadership demonstrated that collaboration could extend beyond technological exchange. She championed cross-species dialogues that explored not just the mechanics of interstellar cooperation, but the deeper ethical, philosophical, and societal implications. These discussions led to a broader understanding between humans and Zexians, where cultural exchange became just as important as technological progress. The Zexians found themselves fascinated by humanity's ability to embrace diversity, not as a weakness, but as a powerful tool for growth. This was something their own civilization had never fully considered. As a result, humanity's first contact was not merely a moment of diplomatic success, but the beginning of a transformation in the way the galaxy viewed civilization itself. The Zexians, once the dominant force in the galactic community, found themselves adapting to humanity's new model of collaboration, one based on mutual exploration, adaptability, and creativity. And as they did, they realized that the universe was never going to be the same again. Humanity's approach to progress, which had initially seemed so foreign, had opened the door to a future where the boundaries of possibility were constantly shifting, expanding, and evolving. This was the legacy of humanity's first contact, not just a new partnership, but the birth of a new era.